They had the sound camera rolling, the sound machine rolling when I was.
Angie Dickinson, at 93, has some pretty surprising things to say about her time in Hollywood. She's had a long career, one that many could only dream of, but not every moment was filled with smiles and applause. She talks about the actors she couldn't stand, revealing some behind-the-scenes tensions that many may not have known about. The way she puts it, Hollywood might have seemed glamorous on the surface, but it wasn't always the place of magic it appeared to be. In a rare moment of openness, Angie recalls how there were certain co-stars that made her life on set difficult and sometimes unbearable. One story she shares is about working with certain actors who made her so frustrated that she seriously considered quitting. She gets into the nitty-gritty of how difficult some of the Hollywood legends could be to work with. Her words? Not all of them were as easy to love as they seemed on screen. And though she's no longer in the industry, these experiences remain vivid, showing us a side of Hollywood that we don't usually see. Angie Dickinson didn't come from Hollywood. She came from a small town in North Dakota. Growing up in coal, she was far from the glitz and glamour of the film industry. Her family had its own struggles, especially with her father's battle with alcoholism, which led her mother to make a tough decision to move the family to California. That was a pivotal moment in Angie's life. She was just 10 years old, and although life in California wasn't perfect, it gave her the chance to start fresh. While attending high school, Angie stood out not just because of her beauty, but because she was also really smart. She even won an essay contest that earned her some recognition. It wasn't long before she caught the attention of talent agents, who saw something special in her. At first, she wasn't sure about acting, but when she was asked if she wanted to be part of a show, something clicked. That moment, she says, changed everything for her. As she started appearing on TV shows, Angie didn't just fade into background. She quickly became a name people remembered. Her breakout role came in 1958 when she starred alongside John Wayne in Rio Bravo. The movie was a massive hit, and Angie's performance made her a star. Despite the hard work, Angie never forgot where she came from, and even when she achieved Hollywood success, she always kept a piece of her small-town roots with her. As Angie Dickinson's career continued to rise, she started landing bigger roles, like her part in Ocean's 11 in 1960, where she starred alongside Frank Sinatra and the Rat Pack. But her personal life was never as smooth as her career. After her breakout role in Rio Bravo, Angie's marriage to Gene Dickinson ended in divorce. That wasn't the only tough personal challenge she faced. In 1966, she gave birth to her daughter, Nikki, who was born prematurely and later diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome. This was a heartbreaking moment for Angie, as she struggled to balance her career with being there for her daughter, especially when Nikki's health problems persisted. Despite these struggles, Angie kept working and maintaining a strong presence in Hollywood. But her relationship with the industry wasn't always easy. She didn't always get along with her co-stars. There were certain actors she found difficult to work with, and she didn't hold back about it. She didn't like how Frank Sinatra, a man she had once been close to, could be controlling and moody. Then there was Joan Collins, with whom she had a tense rivalry. The two of them were both strong-willed women, and when they crossed paths at a Hollywood party, sparks flew. From that point on, their relationship cooled, and Angie would often avoid her. But it wasn't just the women Angie clashed with. She also had strong opinions about some of Hollywood's biggest male stars. John Wayne, for example, wasn't someone Angie could get along with. Despite starring in Rio Bravo with him, she didn't like his attitude toward women or his outspoken political views. She even turned down a film offer when she found out Wayne was involved. Then there was Raquel Welch, whose rise to fame seemed to overshadow Angie's own career at times. Angie didn't think Raquel had the acting chops to match her fame, and their backstage disagreements didn't help the situation. One of Angie's most notable feuds was with William Shatner. Their relationship soured after Shatner interrupted Angie during a speech at a charity event, and she wasn't afraid to call him out. She didn't appreciate being talked over, especially by someone she saw as arrogant. It's clear that Angie wasn't one to let disrespect slide, and she wasn't afraid to speak her mind, even when it meant clashing with Hollywood's biggest names. As Angie's career moved forward, her personal life was filled with its own challenges. After a tough separation from her husband, she started a relationship with composer Burt Bacharach, and in 1966 they welcomed a daughter, Nikki. But Nikki's health issues were a constant strain, and Angie found herself having to slow down her career to be there for her daughter. Nikki was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, and as she grew older, she faced many difficulties, including vision problems and sensory sensitivities. Angie did everything she could to support Nikki, but the situation was tough. In 1981, Angie's marriage to Burt ended in divorce, and shortly after, Angie's mother passed away. These personal losses took a huge emotional toll on her. Angie continued to work, but it was clear that her focus had shifted, and she began to take on roles that allowed her to reflect her own personal struggles, like her part in Dressed to Kill in 1980. Though the film was a thriller, it was also a reminder of Angie's ability to take on complex, challenging roles, just as she had navigated the complexities of her own life. In the years that followed, Angie Dickinson faced more personal challenges. In 2007, her daughter Nikki tragically passed away. Nikki had struggled with Asperger's syndrome throughout her life, and her death by suicide was a devastating blow to Angie. Nikki had always been a brilliant young woman, especially in music, but her sensitivities and challenges in daily life made things difficult for her. Angie once shared that Nikki couldn't lie, and her honesty was both heartbreaking and beautiful. Losing Nikki left a permanent scar on Angie's heart, and it was a pain that she carried with her for the rest of her life. Despite the tragedy, Angie continued to live her life on her own terms. She returned to television for a brief stint in 2009, starring in the Hallmark movie Mending Fences, a role about repairing broken relationships. But after that, Angie decided it was time to retire. She had accomplished so much in her career, and she wasn't looking for more fame or work. She made it clear that her time in the spotlight had come to an end, and she left the industry gracefully, carrying with her both the joys and the sorrows of a life lived in the public eye. Angie Dickinson's life and career are a mix of extraordinary achievements, personal struggles, and unforgettable moments. From being a small-town girl with big dreams to becoming one of Hollywood's most beloved stars, Angie's journey wasn't always smooth. She dealt with rivalry, heartbreak, and loss. But through it all, she never lost her strength or her spirit. Her story is one of resilience, personal growth, and staying true to herself in an industry that often pushed people to be something they weren't. Even though she's now retired, Angie's legacy lives on. She remains an icon of classic Hollywood, with a career that spanned decades and a life that touched the hearts of many. Her honesty, bravery, and authenticity continue to inspire those who hear her story. Angie may no longer be seeking fame, but her impact on the world of film and her powerful personal story will never be forgotten.